Yesterday, I got in a heated argument with ChatGPT. How do they know this information is more truthful than something else? It's basically weighted through medical consensus. There's so much medical dogma that ends up being completely false over periods of years. Today, we're going to take a deep dive and ask ChatGPT various questions and see what it says. The first question that I asked ChatGPT is, how do I lose weight? And of course, it said this: losing weight comes down to creating a sustainable calorie deficit, burning more calories than you consume. Of course, this dogma has persisted, and it's going on right now. This is what the medical profession tells you to do to lose weight. They give you a tip. A good starting point is to reduce your intake by 300 to 500 calories per day. Let's just say you did reduce 500 calories. You're just going to be so hungry because you're not going to actually tap into your fat supply. You're going to be dependent on the calories from the food coming in because you're running on carbs. Then I asked ChatGPT, what is the best diet for health? Number one, the Mediterranean diet. Of course, it's lots of vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains, moderate fish and poultry. Of course, you have to limit the red meat, sugar, and processed foods. I like how they put that together. Limit red meat, sugar, and processed foods, like they lump those three together because they're all of equal importance to avoid. Look at this, optional, moderate red wine. For women, that's 1 glass per day. For men, it's 2 glasses of alcohol per day. The second diet is, of course, plant-based. Here we got the same old recommendations. Okay, flexitarian diet. This is mostly plants with a moderate amount of protein. Same thing, lean proteins. And then we have the DASH diet for blood pressure, more grains, lots of vegetables, fish, and lean meat. Same old, but now we're going to lower your sodium as well, right? Sodium has been found not to cause high blood pressure unless someone's super sensitive and low in potassium. There's just as many, if not more, problems with low sodium, especially if you're going low carb, because when you lower your sodium, you're going to have weakness in the muscle and the nervous system. People actually need at least 1.5 teaspoons per day of sea salt just to get enough sodium. Diets to avoid long-term. Here we go. Keto and carnivore can show fast results, but hard to sustain, often lacks fiber, and can affect long-term heart health. There is absolutely zero evidence of that data. Again, where ChatGPT gets their data is from organizations like the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association. All of these organizations are heavily funded by certain individuals, certain industries that are going to make them very biased. I mean, think about keto and carnivore, what kind of threat that is to all sorts of money, medications, junk foods. Basically, they call the keto and carnivore fad diet. Quick results, but often result in rebound weight gain and nutrient deficiencies. Wait a second. The healthy version of the ketogenic diet and carnivore are so nutrient dense. What is the best way to lower my cholesterol? More fiber, their version of healthy fats, but replace saturated fats with unsaturated fats. In other words, we're going to recommend the heart healthy seed oils instead of the saturated fat. Just ignore that because cholesterol is needed to make bile. It's needed to make vitamin D. It's needed to make all your cell membranes. It's needed for your brain. It's needed for your hormones. Next question, are seed oils really that bad? When seed oils aren't that bad, when used in moderation. When seed oils might be bad, highly refined. Well, that's the majority of seed oils out there. Oh, I like this. The verdict, should I avoid seed oils? No need to demonize them completely. The key is balance and moderation. This is a play in their playbook. Everything in moderation. So that way you can keep eating the junk food. There is no bad food. It's just about balance and moderation. Well, when you have a chronic disease, you cannot just solve it by balancing your diet. You have to do something out of balance. What is the best recommendation, diet, and nutrition for someone with type 2 diabetes? Why do they add whole grains and legumes? Think about what causes insulin to spike. It's carbs. So what is diabetes? It's a disease where there's too much blood sugar. Why would you want to add more carbs to increase that sugar if type 2 diabetes is too much sugar already? Wow, look at this. 1/4 of your plate should be whole grains and starchy vegetables. Really? Sweet potatoes? Why do you even recommend that for diabetes? This is ridiculous. Avoid large portions of carbs. Be mindful. No, don't consume any carbs or keep your carbs really, really low. With type 2 diabetes, you do not need to balance your carbohydrates. That's bad advice. You need to bring your carbs way, way down to as close to zero as possible. Of course, I asked the question, what about red meat? Is it healthy or unhealthy? So it brings up the risks of red meat, especially processed meat. It's interesting how they always combine red meat with processed meat. You know how many people that go on carnivore that improve their blood pressure, their heart function? You really think that the American Heart Association can be independent and stay independent? No, they can't. The American Heart Association recommends limiting red meat in no more than 1 to 2 servings per week, with each serving being around 3 to 4 ounces. It's just interesting to me how they have to throw those both into the same category when the truth is there is no credible research on red meat. So then I asked ChatGPT, from a diet and nutrition consideration, what would you recommend for the following conditions. Let's start with autoimmune diseases, and they're recommending, omega-3 fatty acids, fruits, vegetables, curcumin, avoid processed food, gluten, nightshade vegetables. That's fine, but none of that is going to put your autoimmune disease in remission. To put any autoimmune condition into remission, you have to do two things. You have to really raise your vitamin D levels to a therapeutic dose, because vitamin D helps prevent the immune system from making a mistake and attacking its own tissues instead of a microbe or a pathogen. You need a lot of vitamin D, and it's called the Coimbra protocol. Now that you have that information, I think it's really important to have the truth about what to eat to create a healthy body.